What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about me missing the Uncharted franchise. Now, I've done a couple of these over the last half year. They've seemingly done pretty good. I think it kind of resonates with people, which is kind of what I mean, look, to be honest, I want a place to vent, and I clearly have a place to vent. But I think it being able to resonate and people being able to share their stories kind of makes this series a little special. I've done Kingdom Hearts, and I think I've done Pirates of the Caribbean, which I thought both of those were rather fun. So Uncharted is a franchise I think about quite often, and this one actually hurts anytime I really think about it, to be real with you, because, and I've told the story a couple times, but getting into the PS3 gen, I get in for Prototype, right? I'm just a silly young man, I wasn't even 13, I think I was 12, about to be 13, 2 weeks later. Get the PS3, I got it late, got it for Prototype, and it was really Christmas of that year that I got introduced to Uncharted. Now, again, I was just a silly little boy, just figuring out what gaming was even about, on a larger scale. Up until that point, I knew, Super Mario Galaxy from, the Wii kind of department, and then I knew things like Sly Cooper and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and some of that stuff that I grew up on. Sims maybe is a side project type thing. But for that Christmas, and I remember it pretty vividly, I had a list. You write a list to your parents at that point, and for me, it was about okay, I need or I want, this group of things, right? I just got the PS3. Let's try to get into these games. And I want to say that I had done the research at that point because I was getting into IGN and stuff. And I figured, okay, at that point, Batman Arkham Asylum had come out. I got that with my own money, that August, and freaking fell in love with that. That was really the second major PlayStation game or game on the PS3 that I had played. I mean, there was Resistance and MotorStorm. So, for that Christmas, I said, okay, I don't want anything else except for games. That's all I want. And I remember very vividly and very nicely, my parents just kind of went for it. They said, all right, look, you're not going to get an insane number of things, but, gaming, quite expensive even back then, right? So $60 a pop or whatever it was. Maybe some of them were on sale. I got a gaming chair that went on the floor that was able to rock, and you could plug in the speakers and stuff too. I never used it for anything more than sitting and rocking on. I remember that to this very day. I love that thing, and I think it just broke. So I had that, and then I think I got a pile of 6 games. That was my Christmas. It was 6 games, maybe 7, and then the rocking. And all I remember with complete clarity and certainty is I got Uncharted 1. I might have got Infamous 1 at the same time and a couple others because I know I got 6 or 7. And I also know my process back then was every day I'm going to play a different game. So day 1, Christmas Day, I'm going to play this game. Then day 2, day after Christmas, I'm going to play this other. And I went through the 6 or 7 games and then I did a rotation. Now, I think that's a terrible idea in retrospect, but I was 13, okay? But I remember, even if I can't remember fully the other 6 or 5 games, I know Uncharted 1 was one of them, and that takes us, to the beginning. It was just such a special experience. I mean, Nolan North just did an incredible job, and he really kind of became, for a very long time, he's so many different characters. It's, most times using his voice. I don't know if you'd say he's got the range of other voice actors, but I mean, he's a legend. He's literally a living legend. I've met him at fan expos or Comic-Cons, I want to say 4 times. I think I was able to tell him that Nathan Drake was my favorite gaming character of all time. So that was just kind of a cool moment where, he's signing autographs. He probably meets, tens of thousands of people over his life. But I'm happy I got the chance to tell him that because, honestly, maybe Sly Cooper, but Nathan Drake just made an immediate impact and then continues to. He's one of the greatest gaming characters of all time. He's got such charisma, and the games are just phenomenal. But I think to take you back to Uncharted 1, and I'll probably retell that story because I want to do a retrospective on Uncharted 1 at some point. But you know what? We're getting close to a major milestone as it is now with Uncharted 1, but Uncharted 4, if you can believe it, which is also insane at this point, turns 10 years old this upcoming May, which, I mean, I can't even believe that's a thing that you would say. And I remember playing Uncharted 4. I remember my best friend coming over, sleeping over, and us just trying to get through as much of it as humanly possible. We played the entire thing through together. I played all of the games together with him. Meant a lot, and I think back to it so vividly, but the games are just, they're phenomenal. They're just such amazing stories. They got amazing characters beyond just Nate, right? Elena's so good, Chloe's so good, Sully's so good. You can just go down the list of pretty much everybody. And really, Uncharted 1 is almost maybe the weakest one, and you're saying that to a game that's very highly above average, right? Like Uncharted 2, we all know the jump that Uncharted 2 did. I don't know if I probably grasped it, but again, like what's funny is I get the PS3 like June of 09. I get Uncharted 1 in December of 09, and if you remember, Uncharted 2 had already come out. So like we're sitting in a world at that point where I get Uncharted 1, but Uncharted 2 actually exists and is out. And I really feel like I remember watching like the IGN reviews of like, the train flipping and all that stuff. So I think I knew the scale. I knew people were saying there was a jump, but you don't really know until I was still kind of rounding into form of being a gamer. So I think I played Uncharted 1 and 2 within like that year, or like say Christmas of 09. By Christmas of 2010, I want to say, I played both of them. I think I got Uncharted 3 right away because 2011, that came out around like the Skyrim time, and Dead Island came out in 2011, all that. I definitely think I got it at that moment, and remember thinking like Uncharted 3 was the greatest game of all time. That, I'll say this too, maybe as opposed to Sly, because I don't really think I was thinking much, when I was experiencing that greatness. When it came to Uncharted, every game that came out, I thought it was the greatest game ever. And I think that will always kind of stick with me, even if maybe that's like an overreaction. I mean, I think I can sit here now and confidently tell you Uncharted 2, 3, 4 are some of the better games like ever created and that I've ever played, okay? But I remember at the time playing 2 and thinking, does it get better than this? I don't think it gets better than this. Then I played 3, and I mean, with what they did with Sully, towards the end, I remember almost freaking crying and saying, okay, well, this is the greatest game of all time. I always was, by the way, on the bus of Uncharted 3 is better than Uncharted 2, and I still stand on that to this day. I want to replay all of them, and I'll have an updated opinion on that, but I think right now, it's been years. It's been maybe 5 years since I've replayed them. But I think Uncharted 3 is better. Remember thinking Uncharted 3 was the greatest game of all time. Remember thinking Uncharted 4 was the greatest game of all time when that game came out. I still have, you can maybe find, I have a review up of Uncharted 4. I did a couple videos on it. That's one of my biggest in terms of the channel. I try to connect things to the channel when I can. That's one of my biggest, I would say maybe regrets is, it was within, well, it turns 10 years old. So I started the channel in 2015. So I was like a year in, still had no idea what I was doing. I would argue I didn't know what I was doing for like 5-6 years. That was probably a big regret because it's like, I miss it so much. I miss the feeling of these games. I miss the adventure. I miss the visuals. I miss the over-the-top, just set pieces that these games were capable of. And quite honestly, I don't really think any game can kind of match at least some of those things, right? When you think of Uncharted, and to make it less about me now and also just more about the game, when you think about Uncharted, you think of like a highly specific group of things. I don't know if we've ever really gotten them back. And when I think that like when Mafia: The Old Country comes out this past year, right? And people are saying like, oh, it's a kind of discount Uncharted or it reminds me of Uncharted, in some moments. That actually almost makes me more sad because it's like we're sitting here. And it's not, I love Mafia: The Old Country. Actually, it's one of the better games of this year. And I think I said it too, like it reminds me of Uncharted. But we're sitting here 9.5 years after Uncharted 4, and we're comparing games to it and saying, it got close. It reminds me of it, but nothing, of course, can beat it. And that almost makes me more sad. I mean, there is a part of me, though, that also thinks, it got, and I'm kind of ending with Uncharted 4. Obviously, there was Lost Legacy after that, but I do think on the other side of things where it's like it had a conclusion that so many games don't get to have. And I mean, I have petitioned for an Uncharted 5. I've even petitioned for Nate to come back in a limited capacity. But I also very much recognize, like, Master Chief and Halo probably should have ended a while ago. Okay, I liked Halo 4 actually quite a bit, but even maybe before Halo 4, there comes a point, I think, with a lot of games where it should end, and you probably deep down acknowledge that, and then they keep going, and eventually they go past their expiration date. And I can say that while like being a fan of plenty of games, by the way, that have gone past their expiration date. And even Uncharted, like you could argue after Uncharted 3, like that was a great, did you have to do 4? And you could probably argue no, especially with what happened to Amy Hennig. But you know what I mean? Like, you still got Uncharted 4, and that was also kind of perfect, and it had its ending. And now if you were to do another one, like, how long do you want to keep Uncharted going for? But then there's also the part of me where it's like, well, these games are just, like, unmissable. You can't skip these games. They're so important. They've also, from a business side, they've done so well for PlayStation. I mean, they were doing, Uncharted 4, I think, did 15 or 16 million units, I think, on PS4, when not everything was doing it. Like Horizon, I guess, did it back in the day, but I mean, not every exclusive was capable of reaching that 15 plus million range. And Uncharted 4, I remember doing it in just a weird kind of era to it. So, and coming off like the Order 1886 kind of bombed, right? So, and even Infamous Second Son didn't do as well. So, I don't know, like there's clearly a market for it, and there's absolutely a desire for me, and I do miss it. I think I can say I miss it no matter what happens, right? Like if we never get more, will I ever be like fully at rest and like at peace with it? I don't know. Because I do always think about it. I do always think like I really want another one really bad. But I also think, again, it had its moment. I got to kind of have my story with it. I think that's kind of why it's cool, right? Like I have my Uncharted 1 story. I have mainly an Uncharted 3 story and an Uncharted 4 story. 2 is kind of actually a little bit weird, kind of just sandwiched in a little bit later, but I have that big lead up to Uncharted 1. I remember 3 playing it that day, like when it officially comes out, which I couldn't do with 2, and then 4, so I have those memories, and I think I always will, and I think those games are always going to be quite legendary. I think you could probably remake the first game. I think that's maybe how you appease some people, where you kind of actually get both sides of it, right? Because you can kind of bring it back and maybe even do like a Halo 1 remake type thing to it, where it's like, well, it's a legendary game, but is it all that legendary, Uncharted 1? Right? Like it's definitely got some flaws, and it's aged the worst, I think, of any of them, maybe aside from Golden Abyss. Like it could use a remake. And also, you're continuing the franchise without really continuing the franchise, right? You're not putting pressure on yourself to do an Uncharted 5. So for those that want it to be left alone, remaking 1, I feel like that's still leaving it alone enough to please those people while also giving us more and maybe upping Uncharted 1 to be more in line with 2 through 4, So I just want it back. I'm going to default to that because I do miss it. I think the nostalgia kind of power is too strong for me. The desire to just get more games is too strong for me. But I do want to just throw out, like, I do respect that it ended. I can respect Naughty Dog's decision, but even that gets a little messy. Actually, a little. I mean, my dear God. I mean, with Amy Hennig and all that stuff, like, yeah, Naughty Dog moves off of it, but that was really hers. And so without her, you already did Uncharted 4 without her after kicking her out and kicking her version of Uncharted 4 out. You do Uncharted 4. I still thought it was legendary. I would have liked to have seen her version, though. And then you move on, but it's like, well, was it really yours to move off of in the first place, right? So it's kind of a weird situation no matter what. And anytime you make a new one, you probably have to grapple with the same thing where it's like not from the original mind anyway. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.